Hello.
Hello, son.
Hi.
Busy?
Hi.
Busy?
Hey?
You busy?
I was just coming upstairs,
Oh.
going to do some homework. But what do you got?
What do I got, man? I got stuff that you already went through, I guess, in your past. Um, looking over like this Basque uh people that you mentioned before, and in the Basque one thing that you said in a older post, you said, what was it?
You got a research team working on older posts?
No. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It said you said.
Assign everybody a month.
Mhm.
You have enough room there for what? About 60 people?
Yeah. It said you said the real history of her story of both Mexico and Cuba is more Basque than Spanish, similarly with California, Nevada, etc. And I was watching The Godfather Part 2, and it's interesting that his family, the Corleone family, in the movie, they were stationed in Nevada, and they did business with Cubans.
Yeah.
And there's one part that he said, brother, and the Godfather was talking to his brother. He's like, maybe Mom was right. Maybe a gypsy did just drop us off at the doorstep and leave us. I was like, oh man, that's
Well, at least they're not keeping secrets from the mob.
Yeah. So what I look at the mob now, like they're just like Basque priesthood, like a.
Yeah.
And I see how they're the media, because they're like between France and Spain and
Yeah.
the Pyrenees Mountains. So I guess
They are the hair on the head that is Spain. Portugal is the face, Spain is the head, and the Basques are the hair. If you look at the layout of the land there. It's a face on a head with hair that starts up again as another face for France, which is the face of a hippo. Hypocrite.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. You put it in that post too. You said the allegory for the Mad Queen in Alice in Wonderland was for Isabella.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's really interesting. I sent that to Ambika, and she told me some interesting stuff. So yeah, I think I would have to find like my blood type and try to, like, I don't know, trace that or something. I don't know. But and oh yeah, with everybody like around me now saying like, oh, what's going on with your family in Haiti and all this stuff. And I noticed as soon as like this earthquake happened, it's like I know the media is loving it. It's a story they can talk about for I don't know how long. They're like, oh, soon as the earthquake happened, Red Cross is right on top of it, ready to take everybody's money.
Yeah. Yeah. And the TV is broadcasting a banner at the bottom, phone, text message, this number, and donate $10. It'll come in on your phone bill. So they're saying that they've never collected so much money. They're going to collect so much money and send so much equipment and supplies and everything to Haiti that the Haitians won't be able to walk around. They'll only be able to stand on top of crates and boxes.
Yeah.
And then it's going to happen in North America. And the hint is what I gave today, is that the horn will start honking in and during the Olympic Games in Vancouver. But it will really take over when they're in South Africa for the soccer. Everybody will be honking the horn together who's involved in soccer, and it's going to become the horn, which I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're pipes that are about 3 feet long. They will become the preferred souvenir from the soccer matches. And how do you will your will? You get everybody doing the same thing at the same time. Yeah. What happens when you honk a horn, everybody at the same time? Joshua did it in the allegory of the Bible, and the walls came tumbling down. That's what they're planning is after the soccer matches, the focus should be on the big toilet at Lake Superior.
When is the end of the soccer matches?
The soccer is in the summer. The Olympics start on the 12th of February. So they go for about 2 weeks, 15 days or so. And then there's a break, and I forget exactly what month it is, but the World Cup starts in South Africa. The religious crowd, are you familiar with that religion? Zulu?
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah, I know a little bit about it. Not.
They claim that the horn is their religious symbol, and that they want everybody to stop blowing horns at a soccer match. Of course, there's that little money thing on the side. Since it's become the favorite souvenir, they're kind of looking for a kickback.
Yeah, the horn is actually another, the phone, too.
Yeah. The Horn of Africa and the horn that is Somalia.
Don't they blow out of it, too, in Jewish?
It honks, and it supposedly made the sound necessary to bring down the walls. That's like somebody having his thumb on a button that explodes dynamite and says, "Blow your horn, it'll make the walls fall down."
Yeah, with what happened in Haiti, like my mother was telling me, like her cousin didn't make it. And it's like, and she really can't even tell how many people in the family are dead because they can't get a number or anything.
I'm sure that every family
in
Haiti will be touched by this. In the end, if you end up with 100,000 people of 3 million,
that's still not like that's peanuts compared to.
It's not going to be reason to dispense all the first response supplies one has, but that looks like what they're doing.
I'm still trying to decide, figure out why Haiti,
Well, obviously they made Haiti for that purpose. Christopher Columbus didn't come looking for America. He had a map. It was given to him in Italy before he left, and he went and got the financing in Spain. But he had a map, and he was going to that island. But this thing about taking an island and dividing a piece of it off and calling it another country is so artificial that it doesn't make any sense except when you understand the geology.
Yeah, another reason why I think like that country is like really Basque influence is what the name of it was before it was called Haiti and Dominican Republic. They used to call it Española.
Yeah.
Like and I guess that's what Columbus called it.
Yeah, well, it's named after Spain. That's where he got the financing.
Yeah. So the Basque really did control. They just because whoever controls the money is the real rule.
Yeah.
So
they were sent there. They did what they did, knowing that at the 500-year period, the end of the Phoenix, from there, they would step in and induce an earthquake from underground, because that's the easiest place in the world to do an earthquake is where plates come together. That region with the North Atlantic plate and the South Atlantic plate and the Caribbean plate and the other one, I forget what they call it, on the Pacific side, all of these things are putting different pressures on the rocks. So if somebody is able to do something underneath, they can make it happen on schedule.
You know what I find interesting is how they can get it so exact and hit certain part on the
line thrust rather than earthquake. That's what makes it happen in the exact spot you want it.
Oh, so everybody has a misconception. Everybody thinks it's an earthquake, but it was...
No, it's a blind thrust. It pushes up from below rather than sideways. And that way they can make it happen exactly where they want it.
Oh, science. So those Basque people, they're Cro-Magnon, right? From
yeah.
I came across another group of people that I was reading a post on Spain, and they say that the Greeks came across these people. They called them Iberians, and they said,
same word as Siberia.
Yeah,
Iberia.
just to take off the S, right? Yeah. So I guess that was before a Siberian is the shaping.
Yeah. The Siberian tiger is basically the tiger that has been used as the model for giant tiger.
Well, you said the tiger, or you posted the Netherlands, Sweden,
yeah,
Norway. They're the tiger. They're the watch, something like that.
Yeah. Well, everything above the sea there is shaped like a tiger.
That's what I said. So I need a, you know what I need? I need a big map just put on my wall.
That's what I have. All around me. Around me with different emphasis. The best maps, of course, were the ones we had in school when we were kids. They were like a blind.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
you pull down.
Yeah, that's the one I had in school, too. Yeah. All right, yeah, it seems like you're always 10 steps ahead.
Yeah. I think I got that one from a person, an enemy now in Alberta, who had these maps, and I said, "Oh, can I have that one?" And at that time, he was trying to infiltrate me, and he said, "Sure." She said, "Sure," because it was the wife. So I got the map.
Those infiltrators, you never, like, what did you, find out they were infiltrators and they just had to leave? Or
it's when you're a forensic investigator, you have basic toolkit, and the toolkit the word seen. When you can't see something that should be there, there's something screwy going on. When you can see things that shouldn't be there, there's something screwy going on. And you give people enough time, they can't help themselves. It's inside them, and it's hidden, and it's fighting to come out.
Yeah, you always do that, Glenn. You always you do, like I said before, you like, it's like the Neanderthal tactic. You just sit and wait for it to come to you.
Yeah.
You're like a fisherman, man. You just sit there.
It's no sense hiding in a world that is basically filled with spies.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is learn what they know. No spy knows everything, but they all know something. So if you gather up all the little bits and pieces of everything each spy knows, you end up knowing more than all of them put together.
They're all like little mentalized or whatever the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like they all work for this bigger design.
Yeah, they're all on a need to know. So if they don't need to know, they're not told. Like they're not. Nobody comes out and says, "Sorry about this, but at the end of your job, we kill you." But that's what happens to most people, and they don't realize it. Even the Ronald Reagans of the world, those types of people, think that they've succeeded, and all of a sudden they get Alzheimer's. Or if you look at Muhammad Ali, all of a sudden you're not able to communicate, and you don't know why. And it's all planned before they even begin their journey.
Yeah, like
with a word like Clay, Cassius Clay, you knew right away. Cassius, he's an ass. He's a messenger. He carries the message.
And I was talking to this guy on the phone. He was telling me, he's like, yeah, it's like a big video game, and how's is the video game screen, and they just play with us. Yeah. It's like they're like little kids. Yeah. So
people who only have a brain that functions can never play this game because they always lose. You have to have a complete thinking process, and that requires intuition as well as reason. If you don't have the combo of both, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
you can't do it with intuition alone, and you can't do it with reason alone.
Yeah, no, I think it's intuition is shunned like something ridiculous. And people even say like intuition. I don't think they really understand what intuition means.
They don't know what they're talking about, yet the word tells you. Before you arrive, you've paid for this.
Yeah.
It's in your tuition. So you're arriving in the college called life. And what you have is what you bring with you. And part of what you bring with you, you have to pay ahead of time in your tuition.
That's like that song by Joni Mitchell. She called it The Circle Game. She says you can't return to the past. You can only look from where you came.
Yeah.
And things go round and round like a circle game.
Yeah.
So.
And it is very much like a circle, but not quite.
Yeah, that's just
it's a spiral. You come back to the same location, but not at the same level as you go around.
And that's probably why they made the cigarettes.
Yeah, the cone.
And then you said in the post, you said that over time, and they started making pyramids basically similar in that they were perfecting it more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I see these. I guess these Basque and Kurds. They're like
They are
Sesame
agents.
Seesaw.
The
Like,
name says agent. QUE means agent, like Quebec.
Yeah.
And BAS, skull and bones.
And you have Cass.
Yeah. Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
The big W.
I knew this girl named Cassie. She's Cassie.
And in French, it's a sac.
Oh,
and
yeah.
sac is a bag.
Satchel.
So you're a bag man or a bag lady. Bag men have a different job than bag ladies. Bag men go to retrieve resources and send it back home. Bag ladies are homeless women looking for a place to live. And usually they have started life as gorgeous looking, and all of a sudden, without their knowledge, a recessive gene is activated and they become large from the hips down, and they start losing self-esteem.
Yeah.
Don't want to deal with men, and that whole episode starts to turn them into people who are not happy, and that's what happened to Nefertiti.
Well, look at the environment. Like, I went in the store yesterday, and you got to see how as soon as I went to CVS. It's like like a pharmaceutical drugstore type of store, and as soon as you go in there, just everywhere, something is geared towards the woman's self-esteem. And these are the things that, like, I think activate that in people's DNA.
Yeah,
in your
probably.
environment. Yeah.
It has to be triggered,
Mm-hmm.
and divorce can be part of it. Commercials on TV can be part of it. Religion making you feel guilty. Certainly, the task assigned to a wife, if you make a list of everything a wife is supposed to do in a day in her own mind, it is physically impossible for that person to do it. Yeah. And therefore, at the end of every day, they feel diminished because they feel they haven't done what other people do. Yeah, and like nobody else does it. Yeah. Everybody just feels guilty.
Yeah, when I went to the store to buy something to eat, I noticed, like, most the women are just like servants, because it's better. Like, I guess the system sees it as a better tool for people to buy things if it's a woman serving you.
Yeah.
Serving you at a restaurant, serving you, being a waitress, serving you, cash register. It's like they're like, it's like, damn,
the system knows what needs to be hidden. Hair is hidden by putting turbans and hats and that kind of stuff.
But they don't do that in the West so much. What they do is they just destroy it with dye
and cut it off and all of this stuff.
Actually, it is becoming fashionable for women nowadays to have short hair.
Yeah. And then breasts, of course, were part of the normal communications between human beings, men and women, because breasts speak a language of their own.
Yeah, they do.
And by hiding them, they have kind of taken away an ability to communicate. And that's why people are always grasping for the right words. You don't need words to communicate. Words are the things that confuse things.
Exactly.
Because everybody interprets them differently. You don't interpret people's physical appearance differently. You know what you're looking at, and nobody is disguised by it. So the priest came and hid that from view.
And that's what they did. They cut off severed communications with us with each other and ourselves, and they just redirected it into the phone.
That's right. And they understood that everybody needs in their lifetime to meet people who are compatible to them but not like them. And you need to have the equivalent of what is known as soulmates, 12 people who complete the package along with you to make up that full person. But by creating the institution of marriage, which they knew from the beginning doesn't function beyond 4 years, they in fact lock people into believing that you can live a normal life by being married to the same person all your life, and makes people feel guilty if it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work. Period.
But I've talked to men. I do my little scouting out, and do my little experiments talking to men, and men they'll openly say, yeah, like this is who we are. We just but they go through their lives either when they're married or something. They sneak, or they just think they want to believe in that ideal of.
But it's not that they're being any different from women. Women need communications with others too.
Uh-huh.
It's just who they choose to have communications with. Women want to have communications with people who take orders from them, children. And if they don't have children, pets. Whereas men don't expect to be given orders to all their friends. They understand that, these are passing relationships, and everybody just basically learns from each other type of thing. They don't want to control in the same way. So they both male and female are looking for soulmates in different ways. For men, the children are older. They're the same age they are. For women, they're younger. And in my lifetime, I've seen many, many women whose children grow up and leave home, and they transfer their affection to a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a cat.
True.
Because they can basically feel the cat needs them, the dog needs them.
That's what they need. They want that feeling of being needed, right?
Sovereignty and security. That's it. Comes down to two
So
words.
is the root.
For men, sex and a sandwich.
Yeah. And everything, so many things are rooted, come from that root, sex and a sandwich.
Yeah.
But I see women, they just, I wonder now, why they get mad when a man is being a man? He's they get mad if a man looks at another woman or something.
Well, it puts a little doubt in their mind about whether the relationship will last, and they've invested a lot of time in that person to provide security and sovereignty for them, and every day that goes by, they feel they won't be able to go out and get another opportunity, so they get angry that things seem to be slipping away.
Yeah, and it's like today, I see men who who go out, get women. It's like basically they're just buying these women.
Yeah.
They're buying them and And it's like it's like Dana told me. It's like slave auditions for the women. Like
Yeah.
we're auditioning to see if we're worthy to be the slave to the woman.
Hey, I don't know if you saw this week, but there was a hockey game with Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins playing, and in the stands was this gorgeous woman in a wedding dress and a big sign saying, "Sidney, marry me." So that's the extent that some women are prepared to go to get security and sovereignty.
I thought it was the other way around.
She really believed that if he married her, that would be the last time he would be attracted to an offer.
Yeah.
If she does, she hasn't got much in the way of brains.
Yes.
Marriage is an institution created by religious people to create stress.
I wonder when the first marriage, what around and on this timeline, what do you think marriage? You think it happens as soon as the Ice Age was over? Marriage, or
there are basically two periods in marriage. After the Ice Age, up until the year 1215, marriage was basically between families. Arranged marriages in order to transplant spies from one team to the other.
Oh, and then over time became to the same.
And it was agreed between the two teams that they understood the person was really a spy in their midst, but they would exchange spies. And at the death of the person in charge, the real estate and armies or whatever that belonged to the person that died would go to the family of the wife. That was an understood system. But in 1215 in England, during the revolt by the nobles against the king, they wrote a contract called the Magna Charta.
Why were the nobles revolting against the king?
Because the king wanted to appropriate to himself most of the wealth of the kingdom, but the nobles wanted to keep wealth to themselves. So they basically revolted. And under the cover of that revolt, the priests snuck in and extended marriage from only the royal families and the army type families, which is basically the same thing. They all come down to the Roy for Roi, king, or Roy as in Troy for the military.
There was a fast food restaurant. Actually, there's like one open, or two open in New York State, and there's one over probably 25 minutes away from me. They call it Roy Rogers.
Yeah.
Roy Rogers.
Rogers is just the word regal.
Yeah. What was I going to tell you?
So while all of this flack over the monarch and the nobles fighting together, in snuck the priests and spread out marriage to all the peasants as well, because they would need a method of control in the future to distribute the orphans that they were manufacturing in monasteries.
Gypsies did that too, right? They manufactured people and got them up on doorsteps, like they said. I guess that was the earlier one before.
Yeah, because it all started with gypsies. They were basically different names, but Roma.
So you know what? I blame for the reason why women are one of the reasons why they think the way they do today. I blame Disney, Cinderella, Mermaid, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. All these things about
King Kong.
all these things about getting married and happily ever after. Because that's the women, they say they believe that, but deep down, they know it's for sovereignty and security.
The big gorilla controls and does all kinds of things, while the little woman is protected by it. All comes down to security. In the end, it doesn't work. There has been a better system, and there should be a better system in the future, and it should not include
a priesthood,
a couple who take responsibility for children by themselves. They don't have the tools within a couple to hand out to the children a balanced way of living. For that, you need a community of people, each with different approaches and different tasks, teaching the child a variety of things. Not doctors making doctors and lawyers making lawyers.
No, you know what else you could do? Dr. Phil. He'll help make this. Oh man. So yeah, with the whole how you were saying with like Reagan and how he had Alzheimer's, like I see, like when you going out into the world, Glenn, because I'm pretty much like in my own world, and I kind of deal with people. I mean, I do deal with other people, but I went out like when I go out like to the store or something, that's like I'm stepping out of the my world kind of.
Well, I've done it backward from you. You're at the beginning of the process. And what I did was say to myself one day, hey, you're on a treadmill. And you have gained sufficient knowledge to know that you cannot change what is happening around you as long as you remain in this treadmill.
That's what every day, Glenn. I just have all this work dumped on me, and I'm just so sick and tired of just I don't know the
you
people.
You gotta walk out and begin to do things that you
want
to do.
Exactly.
Not what other people are paying you to do, and they want from you.
I think my mistake was just like, I just gotta get a little bit more money, just save up money, but
in the end, there would be people who want to do what you do.
Yeah.
They, some people need direction and don't want the responsibility. As a matter of fact, probably most people in the world don't want any responsibility.
Yeah,
That's why they join the army and become priests and whatever, is somebody else make the decisions. Work for IBM. You don't have to think; they'll tell you.
Yeah. So I go to the dentist too yesterday, and I got an X-ray, and they're telling me I have like 5 cavities, and basically they're like, oh well, when you go to the doctor or go to these people, like it's like you gotta like I come off like an asshole. I may come off like because I'm fighting for like because automatically like, okay, we could put silver in your teeth. They already like choose this for me. Oh, we're putting silver, drill in your teeth, put silver in there. I'm like, no, I don't want any conductors in my mouth. They're like, well, we can get this other thing. It's more expensive, but it won't last as long. I'm telling you, it's not good. So I'm like, let me get that. I'll get
you don't know how many times I had arguments with the dentists I had, who basically probably are all retired on my money now.
Yeah, I was having arguments.
Telling them, take the goddamn thing out.
Yeah.
Pull the tooth.
That's what I said.
No.
That's what I said.
The tooth.
Yeah, I'm like pulling my teeth, like we can save it, we can save it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just pull it out, man. I don't even want it.
Yeah, I don't want it.
And
when you got it all removed, then I can have artificial teeth, and when I brush them, I'll be doing them in my hands. Look at it. None of this feel around wondering whether you got it or not.
Yeah, man. I was like, damn, man, these guys. And they like telling me, pull out your wisdom teeth and all this stuff, and I was like, no, I don't want my wisdom teeth pulled out. You know.
I want to see my teeth.
Yeah, but I can make them last by brushing them a little bit. Then maybe when I'm like 60, 70, I'll just get dentures. The guy was like, don't do that. He's like, I'm like,
don't
what?
do that. You're going to stop my pension.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think he was like saying like, cause it was actually a student was working on me, and they have what it is. It's students who work on people, and they have like a couple dentists who watch everything and oversee, and they'll come by and say, okay, this looks good, this looks good. So, because I can't afford because I don't have any insurance.
First hint I got
Mhm.
when I decided to walk away from life and begin my new journey. I went to Parliament Hill in Ottawa and spent 3 years, as you know, 1,000 days, asking politicians to stop stealing. The first professional to walk up to me, to speak to me, was a dentist. And he basically said, look, I agree with what you're doing. I agree so much that if you ever need any dental work, come to my place and it will be free. So it just happened that about 6 months later, I take him up on the offer. I go to his place. He does a little job. I don't even remember what it was. I had teeth then, some teeth. And then I walk out, and the lady at the counter said, that'll be $125 or something. I said, no. You haven't spoken to the dentist. She looks at me as if to say, yeah. Anyway, she goes in the back room, and he comes out and calls me to his office, and he says something to the effect, when I said it was free, it was my services that were free. But all the nurses, they got to get paid, and the rent's going to get paid, and all of that stuff. So, you know, what can you afford? Instead of $150, and instead of being free, it ended up costing about $65. And that's when I started to ask myself, why would he do work on me for free unless there was a benefit for him in there someplace?
It was in the long run he was doing it.
Yeah. And you know what? He ended up going bankrupt. And that's almost impossible for a dentist. But I think he was taking drugs or something on the side, so he ended up going bankrupt. You know what they did with him?
What?
They made him the dentist for the university in Ottawa. And he's been the dentist for both universities in Ottawa now. He's been the dentist for Carleton, which is the Anglophone Protestant University, and he's been the dentist for the Catholic French-Canadian University, Ottawa U. So why do they want to give free service, dental service, or very little cost service to people who are going to school at the age when they discover who is the protester in the crowd? You know, insert little things in your root canal, and from then on, you're being managed.
And he's being managed through his drug addiction.
Yeah.
That's why they got him.
Yeah.
Wow. And speaking of which, like when I look at like, cause I remember I was watching a video, the old star musician. His name was Rick James. And you look at these guys. This guy was pretty, arrogant and and really did drugs. These how all these guys, used and controlled, like because all that stuff I think is linked to the medulla, how with the chemical imbalance that you get, and I think the medulla helps with that.
I think I've told you this before, but in my life I've studied, basic activities surrounding pharmaceuticals,
Mhm.
harm assist.
Oh yeah.
Most pills, if not all pills, do exactly what they're supposed to do. The problem comes in two areas. The amount equals the dose, and two, the cocktail. You never get the pill by itself. You always get a cocktail. And the effect of one on the other is what they're looking for. And usually they'll get a specialist to assign one pill, and they'll get your GP to assign the other one. That way it's like a firing squad. Nobody takes the blame for your death. But what they are doing is combining things in a way that will either spark a change in your cells so that something that is dormant comes forward, or it basically kills you in a shorter amount of time. And in my case, when I had my first problems with arthritis, I remember being given a prescription for something called prednisone.
Yeah, I heard that.
And I went to the drugstore, gave it to the person, and she looked at me and she said, "How many? 5 a day? 6 a day?"
Damn, that's a lot, man.
"And for how long?" she said. I said, "He said for the rest of my life."
Damn.
She said, "Ooh," and turned around and walked away. She filled the prescription as ordered, but she didn't have to tell me anything. It was a hint that, yeah, I'll take this for the rest of my life, but that'll probably be next Tuesday. So as soon as that happened, I basically went home, and I had some of these pills from the doctor himself at the beginning, and I started weaning myself off of them, because if you do it suddenly, it'll kill you, because it basically shuts down your immune system and takes over.
Wow.
So if you stop it, your immune system doesn't know, and you catch everything.
Wow. They tried to kill you off, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was basically at the time when I was just before I moved to the farm. I had arranged a meeting on Parliament Hill with a bunch of people I had met across Canada. I had just finished a tour of the country, speaking in all the locations that I could think of who invited me. And I was a pain in their rear end.
Oh, so it's that word harm assist is exactly what it is. They punch you, and then they bring you back up. They help you back up off the ground. Man. Wow, man. My father's a pharmacist.
Your father?
Yeah. I grew up knowing, looking through his books, looking at all the drugs and pills and all that stuff.
Does he own a pharmacy, or does he work for a pharmacy?
He would just work in the hospitals or do off the book jobs in pharmacy stores. He was working on trying to get his own farm.
Pharmacist is a chemist.
They're drug dealers, man. Yeah. That's what I look at them as. Because that's how the system does it. They compartmentalize everything, and nobody takes full responsibility because they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
So they have the media who promotes it to your head, all the drugs, and they have.
And they reward them.
Yeah.
They have a more than average income.
Yeah, they do.
I was just looking at the picture of a guy I went to school with for 8 years in primary school. Mm-hmm. His dad was a pharmacist, and I remember I used to trade comics with him and stuff like that. And the pharmacy that he had, the dad, closed. And it was the first time I ever heard of a pharmacy closing. I still don't know why, because I was somewhere between the age of 5 and 12 in the time I knew him. Son. Mm-hmm. I just saw his picture. Mm-hmm. He won $14 million in the lottery.
Wow.
So you can be certain that he's being rewarded for something the family did. So hang tough, maybe.
You're right. I'm not getting rewarded because I feel like the things now that I think about it, ever since I knowing you, I started to go into your work and get into this stuff. My father lost his job.
Yeah.
Immediately, I lost his job, and
maybe it's because he didn't train you well enough.
Yeah, I'm really thinking that. And then his mind started to deteriorate and just lose it. I was like, wow. And then I was just looking at everything like, damn, man, this is. I don't want to say it's my fault.
No, they turned him off.
Yeah.
He had finished his work for them. He had become a burden, and they turned him off. Exactly. Ronald Reagan.
And I remember that time I went to the dentist with him, and we were younger. That was years ago. And they put all this stuff in his mouth. He has all this gold and stuff in his mouth. And I know it's just...
What does your mom do? Has she always been at home?
No, she's in the beginning when we were living in Queens. She was had a nurse job. She was going to school. Now she like toxicologist. She'll work she was working in a lab before where they test the water in the area.
That's where your dad met?
Yeah, they met in Haiti, but and he just, I guess he encouraged to get into that because when I was younger, she was going to school just when I think started high school. She just graduated college, I think, and she owed so much money to the university. It was actually St. John's University. John what do they call him? John
the toilet.
The just. You said it was. Yeah. I grew up my whole family.
Send you to school and charge you so much money that in your life you can't get out from under.
Yeah, man. And nobody can see that. I guess I say, hey, and I was talking with Dana about this. When you look at it, as our jobs as life beings for creation is to learn and experience. Yeah. Now, everybody's just going to school and thinking that they're learning, but that's not what creation is.
No.
It's for all learning to say we're becoming standardized and
learn what's really happening in the world.
Yeah.
You're here for, not what they want you to believe.
And so many people believe it. That's why it's so hard on people who don't believe it.
Yeah, because they haven't yet grasped the difference between learning and programming. They're just being programmed, and they think they're learning.
I'm going to do a post on that, learning and programming. That's a good post.
Good. Well, I got to go now.
All right, Glenn.
Okay. Talk to you again.
Okay. Bye.
Bye for now.